Welcome to Great Talking Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the YouTube channel where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back to the YouTube channel, everyone. I'm KJ, I'm the host, and as I continue on from the new Netflix series, Bet, this is episode 7, spoiler review. If you have not seen this season yet, or this episode, please pause this. But before you go, could you hit the thumbs up button? That would help my YouTube channel grow, and I appreciate it. Come back and let me know what you think about season 1 of Netflix Bet, and let me know what you think about episode 7 in the comments below. So again, this is a spoiler review. Y'all been warned. Now, let's get into it. This episode continues on as Yumiko is doing house pet duties where many students are treating her very mean-like, kind of like Mean Girls or any other teen drama show, high school show that is really mean to a particular student. It has that same type of vibe, but of course with that little bit of the anime feel to it. And as we see Chad and Dory kind of making fun of her and demanding her to pick up things, Chad tells her, no, you pick up this spilled drink and lick it like a cat. And of course, I felt like they didn't execute this scene right. I understand that they were trying to do something that is similar to the anime series, the way Yumiko is in the anime, and this is kind of like a famous scene in the anime show of it. Well, not kind of like it, but almost close to it. Something she would do if you watch the anime version of Kagomori. And I get the point why they were doing it, but I felt like this was a little bit too forced. I felt like this doesn't really work to sexualize in a live action / adaptation of this. I feel like it works again when it's in anime form or cartoon form, where it's drawn. It has a better chance to be presentable and seem interested in it, if you're a fan of anime, of course. And the reason why is because sometimes, again, it's one of the many challenges to anybody, any studio that decides to take an anime show and do a live version of it, where you actually have actors and actresses playing the characters. It's not like a Marvel or a DC comic book characters. These are characters that just, there's no real depth to them. Obviously it's a Japanese thing, but when you try to Americanize it, but then when you try to mix it in with Americanizes it, it just doesn't really work. But this is not just a Netflix thing. This is not about the director or writers, the producers. It's just one of the many challenges if you're going to take on a anime version of this. So it wasn't executed right. I feel like it was a little bit too forced. And again, like, it probably sounded good. I think everybody probably liked what they saw behind the scenes. I think that they did their best, but I just feel like it wasn't executed correctly for a die-hard anime fan. But if you're somebody who's never watched it and you just decided to watch this show, it's probably no big deal, nothing to really think about, but you get the point of why she did that, and why these students do that. And that's the most important thing, but it was just a little bit sloppy in that way. But again, not a big deal. Yumiko, in the later on in the scenes, Yumiko meets up with Wendy, and they go back to that secret area that's in the building. And Kira and Wendy, in their own ways, in their own separate rooms, are talking to about the pet hunt. Now, this is a banned game where, because of the fact of people have been murdered or injured in some sorts of ways, and who knows how they did it, but Wendy explains to Yumiko, like, what she could receive if she won. And Wendy told Yumiko that she can put her debt on the line as a bet. Kira wants to do it just to humiliate Yumiko and remind everybody who's in charge and who's the boss, and remember that they run this thing. Like, they are the ones who decides everybody's future and fate who go to the school. So, of course, Yumiko likes this idea, and she likes to take the risk, and she gets Ryan and Michael involved, and of course they're going to help Yumiko. In this game, you're finding that you need to find these unique eggs. There's the golden egg that's the grand prize that has the most value to it. But the unfortunate part is all the pets are hunted. Now, this is like, I don't know, Hunger Game like. This is like, just hunting animals. This is kind of like the format of just anything that recruits in hunting somebody, or even a little bit of like paintball or laser tag, but the only difference is they use legit weapons, but the ones they use in this one are arrows, legit bow and arrows. Some are gun-like type machine arrows, but I forgot the name of it, so I apologize. But anything that you can shoot an arrow with, a bow and arrow. And of course, there's a lot of risk. We see a lot of people get hurt, and they show in a funny way, in a dark way, of course. You see some just took so many arrows in the back, the leg, whatever. Just it's funny, but it showed how much violent this can be. And the whole game is just kind of like a battle strategy. And in this episode, to me, when they're doing all this stuff, even though Yumiko came up with the plan, even gave Michael a map to the secret area, Ryan is willing to help, but they were handcuffed to each other. And, it was very difficult. But this is the point of this whole plot was watching Yumiko think she was going to win and watch her lose. And she had to humble herself. And Kira and everybody in the school felt like they humbled Yumiko. Even her friends started downing her. People turned on her like Mary. But it's understandable what's going on because she just got out of being a house pet. So it's very important. And again, even like the reason why Michael didn't help Yumiko is because we found out that his dad was part of this elite group when their parents were kids. And we kind of figured that out on episode 6, if you just watch it. But he didn't want Yumiko to know because his dad might have been the one who set the bomb in Yumiko's parents' car. And I think that's the idea of it. And he didn't, and of course he lied to it, but that's the plot twist to it. And also, Dory's mother and Michael's dad used to date and stuff, so it's very ironic. And they're kind of teasing the idea that Michael might end up hooking up with Dory, and Dory might end up hooking up with Michael, which is I can see that happening because again, there is a love triangle between Yumiko, Michael, and Ryan. But here's the thing: now as this love triangle takes a little pause. In a way, you can kind of see it happening, because in one scene, Yumiko and Ryan kind of stop, and they were kind of struggling through this playing this house pet hunt game at first, but they did find their flow and they started working together. They even had a nice romantic moment between the two. And again, this is where that was great and all, but they also demonstrate that Mary seemed kind of jealous. But it's also a possibility she has feelings for Ryan or Yumiko or both. Now, Riri sees that, but she's always going to take that at advantage because she likes Mary, of course. And so it's the kind of idea at the end of this whole episode, you know, Yumiko lost. And everybody had a reason why they stopped Yumiko or stopped helping Yumiko. Because they have to look out for themselves. Or for Ryan, he just felt like this is too much. This is too overwhelming. And he was just trying to save Yumiko from getting severely hurt, you know. And I think that's the idea, because I think Kira would have made the shot. You know, I think she was pushed to the point to it. But even Riri, her sister, stopped her and stuff, you know. So it got really real and dark in the way of it. But again, this is the moment now Yumiko got humbled. She had to eat humble pie. But she had to learn from the mistakes she made about this. And she learned something about this. And the kind of what they're trying to tell the viewers who are watching this particular episode, that Yumiko might have to do this on her own, and that not everybody is willing to go as far as she wants to go with it. And we're also seeing, again, Michael is becoming the villain soon, and they're really teasing it. So maybe if the next season happens, or maybe in the next few episodes, Michael turns full villain and turns on Yumiko, I can see it. But Yumiko is, again, she's not worrying about gambling, winning the border. She's just trying to get revenge. And she hasn't told anybody yet. She hasn't told Ryan. And I think once she tells Ryan, I think that's the most important thing. Is because when Michael found out, he just tried everything to protect her. But he was willing to help her create a bomb. So she in her mind, she couldn't imagine how Ryan would react to that if she told him about the death of her parents and how she thinks they died and who she thinks did it. And so it's going to be very interesting to see what goes down in the next episode. But I like this episode a lot because I thought watching the pet hunt was fun. I like the silliness to it. I like the strategy that Yumiko put in the work, and I liked how, you know, things are kind of crumbling down, and to watch Yumiko regroup and try to make a better comeback on the board of betting is going to be really interesting. And I like that. Like, it's kind of like when the chips are down, you know, this is the cards. This is kind of like a metaphor. Like, this is the cards that Yumiko has. These are the cards that she has to work with, deal with, and she's going to use them the best way she can. You know, again, the chips are down for her, and now it's all about can she win more chips, you know? And that's just gambling. If you go to a casino, that's the kind of concept you do. You can lose, but just one win can change it all. And that's all she has in her mind. So she understands that, yeah, what Ryan did and Mary did was messed up. It's also messed up that Michael lied, but she understands. But that's not going to stop her, because again, she still has a few more tricks up her sleeve. She still has a little bit more resource to get some bettings, win some bets, and I think at the end of the day, I think Yumiko's gonna succeed, or we're gonna see her move on move on from the griefing and put that to peace. For her personally, we don't know, but I would bet to say, no pun intended, that I think whatever the next game that she's going to prepare for or have the opportunity to win a bet on, I think that's where we're going to see her dominate, because now she sees how much Kira can really dictate other people. She can see now that it doesn't matter if they're on the council or not. She can influence other students to do her deed and stop somebody like Yumiko. You know, I think Yumiko realized that Kira is willing to go as far as she needs to do to stop Yumiko and keep her down. And that's the kind of message that they're sending to the viewers. So this heated rival that's building up is going to be very interesting to see if they ever challenge each other again and what that could be. So I like that, and I also like the idea of like seeing the other characters have their own side story in these episodes, and that these are obviously young students, but they're gonna grow up to become adults. And okay, the way they present this show is they're at the part of who they want to be, how they want to present themselves for the rest of their life in their adulthood. Which path are they going to take? And I think the next episode is really going to reveal a lot of where all these characters are going to end up being at and what's the importance of it. Ryan's very heroic. Michael is coming to the dark side. Mary, she wants to be her own force to be recognized. Kira, she's got a lot of pressure on her from her whole family, but mainly her father. And obviously, Dory, she's going to do whatever she can to win Michael's heart. So it's gonna be very interesting to see. But what a good episode, and I loved it. I liked it. I loved the dramatic to it. I love the dialogue. I felt like the cast really showed a lot of emotion. When they needed to show anger, craziness, sadness, I thought it was really well done. And I like when, whether it was Michael or Yumiko, they walk in the hall. I love the graphics and the different colors of it. Seemed like dark and gritty, and that person, the mascot in the beaver suit, was just there. It's like just a crazy secret room area in this building. But we know Yumiko is gonna figure out what was that photo. We know Yumiko is gonna recuperate. She's gonna regroup herself, and it's gonna be fun to see where she goes next. I like this. So if I had to give this a 1 out of 10, I'm going to definitely give this an 8. Really good episode. Again, they tried to have a really unique anime moment, but again, they didn't really execute it correctly, I feel like. But other than that, I thought this was a well-told story for this plot for this particular episode. And it really helps you get excited for the next episode and the next episode. So it's definitely, so far, I can say right now, this is a show that you could easily binge watch if you wanted to. So I definitely like this. But what I think about this now, I think Netflix really does have a potential to do more with this series. I think so far, just on based on 7 episodes, I think that some of these characters could have a spin-off show if they chose to. I think there's enough story from the anime series to pull that off. And I really like how we're seeing some of these main characters that we're seeing on screen grow, and they're adding more layers to these characters where you could be rooting for them, and then the next day you're not rooting for them. You feel bad for them. Just really good at that. They're really good at that, and I think they're doing well in that part of this series so far. And I think the showrunners did this thing so well and put it together right for this episode. So I definitely like it. And, I hope you guys are enjoying this show as much as I did. So that's my review, y'all. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment Official Channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace out.